Pamela, when I speak and whatnot, I always talk about influencers. It's one of my favorite topics. My quick story. My first influencer probably was my grandfather. Him, my grandmother, my mom, and they came from Kiev. They came to Canada, and when I was 5 years old or six, he used to take me for walks in the park in Montreal. And and one day I asked him. He talked to everybody, which is probably where I get it from. But I said, "How do you know all these people?" And he said, "Well, one day I smiled at this guy over there, and he came over and smiled at me, and we learned about each other and what's going on. And then someone else saw us, and he came over and smiled at us. And I'm thinking, wow, this is pretty easy. Just got to smile at people as a 5 year old, and it is brilliant actually, because that does do a big difference to just smile at people. And then as you get older, you learn how that can influence people, and even you be influenced yourself. So, with that simple example, can you share? And I know there's probably many, but can you share with us two or three people that have been influential in your life?
Yes, I really do appreciate leaders with a conscience. And there is one leader who I unfortunately did not have the pleasure of meeting, but he just passed away, and that was Ratan Tata. One of he could have been on the second or third most wealthy people in the world. But because he gave so much to charity and so much for different causes, that he was not. And that's my kind of a leader, where there's enough, how much is enough?
Right.
And to know that, and kind of work with that, I think that's a fantastic business leader who has a conscience, right? That is one. The
It's a
other
brilliant.
on the spiritual side, because I'm not a very religious person, I like spirituality more. Um, Dalai Lama is one that I have always been very influenced by in terms of, like, somebody asked I think the current Dalai Lama, um, what do you predict for the next 5 years? What do you think is going to happen? And he said, I don't even know what I'm going to be served with my tea in the evening today. You know, I, I don't think, we can predict that far out. So I like having a pragmatic, like feet on ground and being strategic, but also being very much in tune with who's around, and how it affects, right? It's not just about, and I have to constantly remind myself that, if you're working with a team, for example, to to kind of think about what is their objective, because it may not be the same as yours. So, you know, so so that kind of
That's brilliant. Yeah, I sometimes forget what I went to the refrigerator for. He doesn't know what he's going to have for tea later. It's it's pretty incredible. And I know also, not to put words in your mouth, but your brother obviously was an influencer in your life too, like you were saying, right?
Yes, absolutely. So I think he's the epitome of a leader who is not just thinking about how to improve and think about his own um, goals, but making it happen for others around him. And without him, I would not be here. I would not be pursuing something that is of great passion to me, which is artificial intelligence, right? How to do this right, and how to uh, and the other thing, I'll share one story that he shared with me, which will
Yeah.
always stay in my mind. That there was it doesn't have to be religious, but this was a religious head who had traveled to a different city, and the leader in that city sent him a cup uh, that was full of milk, right to the brim. And it was to suggest that we have everything we need in terms of religious guidance. And what this man did, he put a piece of a lotus petal on the top, and he sent it back. And to me, that's both spiritual as well as if you're looking at it from a knowledge perspective, if you're looking at it from, my cup is full, or is there room for more? It brings that humility as well as humanity into everything you do. That is really important. And the other is um, he doesn't think about um, holding things close to his vest, If he finds something that he thinks is going to be beneficial, even if it's at the detriment of, that he'll lose a little bit, he'll still share it. And I think that's something I'm still learning. Mark, I will not say that I've mastered that. I am still learning that. I'll still hold things to myself, which I think is going to benefit me. But I'm learning that that's there's enough for everyone.
Yeah, I agree. It's actually brilliant. I think we have to know that that by it's the infamous thing, um giving and even giving up usually ends up being more for both than you losing, some of than not giving type of deal. And you should hang on to that brother. He sounds like he's pretty good.
Oh God, I love my brother. I think he's just and my both my kids know, we are very blessed to have him, He does for everyone. I mean, he celebrated, my dad lives with him, he turned 100 years. That's kudos to him and his wife. They're really caring people.
I think we might have to recommend your brother to come on the Leaders Who Care series. Sounds like he's definitely one of them. So thank you for sharing.
My pleasure.